There's another keyword here called continue. And what continue says is skip everything else that's in that loop code block. So when it hits this line, if it reads that, it's going to skip anything after that line. Let's see what that looks like in code, because I know this is a little bit much. Copy that for later. Okay. So watch this. I'm going to print the value of x. I'm going to get rid of break here. And so when I run this code, it will print the value of x, and it will print it's still true, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch what happens if I put continue in here. Now, immediately you see that yellow underline. What it says if I put my cursor over it is this code is unreachable, because what PyCharm is doing is it's looking at my code and it's saying, you have code there, but that's never going to run. It's not going to produce an error. It's just never going to print it's still true, because every time it comes to continue, continue says continue on with the loop, ignore everything after it. So it just ignores whatever's after it. Every time it comes through here, it adds 1, it prints x, and then continue says go back to the top. So it just continues, continues, continues. And then at some point, this becomes not true and it just exits the loop. And this code never, ever runs. PyCharm's pretty good about pointing out situations in which that happens, but it's not 100%. So you kind of have to pay attention to that yourself. So continue, here's a situation where we might use continue. Because you might think, well, why are we doing this? Let's take a look. In this case, I've got a little bit of a complex situation going on. So let's run the code, and then I'll go back and explain what's going on. Okay? So the first line it prints, it says x is not 2, and then it prints the value of x is 1. Then it says x equals 2. Then it goes back to x is not 2, it equals 3, x is not 2, it equals 4. So it's looping through this 4 times, but the second time it's doing something else. So what happens here? So x is 0. We're saying while x is less than 4, we're going to add 1. Then we're going to check. We're going to say, is x equal to 2? The first time it runs, it's not equal to 2, it's equal to 1. So this is false, and it skips these 2 lines, which is the code block that belongs to if. It's indented twice, you can see that. Then it goes, okay, x is not equal to 2, right? Not equal to 2. It is 1. Then it goes back up to here. We add 1 to x, which means x equals 2. Now it is equal to 2. This is true. So it prints x equals 2, and then it hits continue. Continue says go back, continue the loop, go back to the top. So it goes back to here, adds 1 to x, which equals 3, and then it goes back into skipping this for the remainder of that loop. So it's printing x is 3, and then it prints x is 4 before it exits. Okay, so that's how we end up with this. So that's what we can do, is we can cause the loop to continue running, but not execute any code after that in the code block. Continue is used very rarely. Break is used very frequently. Continue, not so much. So this is one of those things. Park it somewhere in the back of your head. Vaguely remember that it exists. And if you have a situation where you're like, I need to skip the rest of this code in this loop, then you can look it up and figure it out what that word was if you can't remember continue. But programming is a lot like that. You have a vague notion that something exists or that you can do something a certain way. And if you can't remember, you just look it up, because that's what the internet is for. And sometimes even like Chat GPT is really helpful. Like, I want to skip the rest of this loop. How do I do that? Oh, no, it'll remind you, oh, continue. Um, that's how programming works, guys. We don't remember every single command and every single thing, and nobody does that. Nobody. But if you understand kind of what you can do and how it works in some way, that's the important thing. That's where the programming skills, it's thinking about how these structures work and understanding how it all fits together. And then you just look up the facts that you need. That's why I don't believe in giving tests in a programming class, because giving you a quiz where you write, circle the correct definition for this word or whatever, you can look that up. I don't believe in giving tests on things that you can look up. I believe in giving you actual working knowledge. So hopefully that's where we're headed here. So I'll get off my soapbox now about teaching. So that is continue, and that's what it's used for.